Hello, everyone. Welcome to Let's Program with Scientier, and today I'm going to continue working on the Task Tracker program. That was probably a better intro than some of the welcome backs I've been doing lately. Self-critique. Okay, it's an important way of getting better at things. So last time we set up this this stuff so that way we could add tasks, view their names, and that was the full extent of what we could do. Now the solution to that is to kind of add some additional stuff. Now, one of the things that we'll note in here is that we have our lovely toString, so I need to make sure to kind of do that. But this is going to have the due date and all that jazz, so that's pretty exciting. And let's see, there's some stuff that I made some to-do notes out of, kind of in between stuff, and I don't remember where I did that. But that's okay. I made them in some code files that I'd closed elsewhere. Notably, I think that I had done it in task itself. So we're not going to worry about that at the moment. We are going to do right now is we're going to come over this guy. So if you recall, I said I wanted to do stuff here. So the first thing I need to do is add task. Owning task, as I often have to do, I also need to make this internal. Task owner equals null. Owner equals owning task. This is very important. And last but not least, let's just go ahead and make an internal task get owner. This is something that I actually quite like about C# is because it's very type specific. What the heck was that noise? Because it's very type specific, it can differentiate between a variable and a type for names of stuff, so you can call a task like that, which I quite appreciate. C++ is not happy about that, as I recall. Now this is immediately going to break, not the category control. Category controls are in an okay spot right now, so I'm going to actually go ahead and close those because I don't need them open. I'm going to break this, so I'm just going to put task into this. And that should make this work okay as well. Now, we're not sure 100% about some of the set width stuff. So we're going to need to kind of evaluate that as we have the ability to add modules to tasks, just to make sure it's working kind of the way that we want it to. On that note, I might want to take our flow master here. And remember how I said I wanted the flow to be top down? I'm going to actually go ahead and adjust it. No, I'm going to actually leave it top down and see how it works. That's something that I might need to play with as well, though, as I might want to play with the flow direction as I mess with this and kind of get more of a feel for what it's doing. Okay. So there's a couple of things there's something else actually that I realized I want to kind of add right away to this, which is text is the title bar, for those who don't know. So I'm actually going to change this to task.name plus editing task. So I'm just doing that, the task first, because if you look at the scroll bar, it will display the name of the task that you're editing in the taskbar. It'll, like right here, see how I have like learn to develop with this page, which full name is like Learn to Develop with Microsoft Developer Network MSDN. So Microsoft MS Developer Network DN. Yay. This, however, gets abbreviated to Learn to Develop W ... So we're like over here, we can see Task Tracker hyphen Microsoft Visual Studio, except it cuts off Microsoft Visual Studio with micro ... So because of that sort of behavior, it's a good idea to put any special names or unique names first. So I don't need to know editing task. I need to know what task is being edited. So that's why I'm doing it that way. Just to be very clear about sort of my thought process and methodology there. So what I need to do with this next is I need to actually have a split panel. The reason for that will become clear momentarily. And I'm just going to call this guy splitter because that's what it does. So that left side, after I change the border style to Fix3D because I prefer it, this left side is going to have a couple of important controls. I need a list box right here. I need a combo box right here. And I need a button. Okay, so this is add task module. This is a button that'll add the task module. I'm just going to put a plus sign on it because I want it to be nice and small. Because what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to basically want to position this at the bottom. There we go. And module type selection list, and then task modules. Okay, so this form is going to I'm going to need to do some stuff for resizing to make sure that the size gets kind of set the way that it needs to. But this panel 2 over here is going to get controls in it. And I should actually turn auto scroll on. It's going to get controls in it based upon what your currently selected task module is. And then this is going to allow you to be able to add them. So there's a couple of things I need to do right off the bat, which is to take our, let's see, module type selection list. Okay, and I need to go for int I equals 0, I is less than, task module dot type count. This is why we added it, because I knew I'd be iterating over it right here. So that's, I don't remember when I added it, but it's paying off. Okay, and then what we want to do with this is go, let's see, items dot add, and then this is going to go ahead and let's just do task module dot module type I dot toString dot replace underscore with space. Single quotes are characters, double quotes are strings, just in case anybody wanted to know. Yeah, you can replace strings as well, but I'm just replacing characters. Now, the reason why I'm doing it this specific way is if I have an underscore, if I just open this back up again, see how I have do underscore date? Now, programmatically, I need that to be all one thing, and a space kind of delineates tokens, is what we call them. So I need this to be a singular thing, so I can't have a space in it, but I want a space to show up in this particular control. So I'm having it go through, and I'm going to have it replace all of the things with all of the underscores with spaces. So that's what's going on there. Now, theoretically, what I could do is I could have, which might not actually be a bad idea, because this enum cannot change during. Actually, yeah, that's a really, I like this idea. So what I'm going to do is for kind of efficiency is I'm going to go ahead and add a name of task modules. Names of task modules. So I'm going to just go ahead and make a public static string array task module names. Okay, and then I can come down here, and I'm going to just go ahead and right up here, generate task module names. And I'm just going to go task module names equals new string array with a size of task module dot type count. And then I'm just going to put that code here. This is going to make things a little bit more efficient later on, but the reason why I'm doing this here is when I bring this up, every single time I bring it up, I'm going to need to like redo all of the string creation, replace, and etc. It's not slow in terms of like real-time slow, but it is slow with a program, and it's kind of a waste of time to do it over and over and over again because it's never going to change. So because it's never going to change, I can just go right here. And technically, I could put this in task module, but I'm putting it program. It might make more sense in task module, but I don't feel like moving it right now. Module names I equals, and then if we go back over here, what I want is to take this gigantic pile and set it like this. Okay. This will just go through all of them and kind of set the name ahead of time so that I'm not doing that every single time I make one of these windows. One of the benefits is it should make the window load a very tiny bit faster. It should be just slightly more responsive. The other thing is I can go here, go add range, and I can go program dot right here, and it will just automatically go through, grab all of those names, and assign them into the thing. So that's the other thing that's pretty great about that. So now this is going to have that list of things, and module type selection list dot selected index equals 0. Always select the first item. So by default, the selected index will be -1, which needless to say, we do not want. Taking a moment to drink some water. Maybe I should announce those ahead of time. I don't know. I think I've sometimes announced them ahead of time, sometimes announced them afterwards. I'm not sure which is better. You'll have to let me know. I'm going to need to add a splitter.panel1.resize. Okay, and right here. So there's a couple of things that are really important with this. So the first is that this right here, dot location, it's probably easier to go left. Left doesn't need to change for this, but its top does. It needs to equal this thing height. So it's going to be the client size height minus this thing's height plus its left. So this is a little trick that I like to do. The thing that you'll notice about this is if you look at it, it's kind of roughly off the bottom as much as it is to the side. So if I subtract off basically its height plus its bottom, then that, but I need to make sure I'm grabbing the correct client size. But that will kind of make sure that it's kind of being about the same sort of spot. This thing is, what's its difference? 219 and 569 and 567. Okay, so I just want to keep that thing's position same relative to okay, so what I'm going to go ahead and do is before I grab that thing's top, I'm going to get I don't know, point add button relative offsets, which is a long name, which basically means let's see, add dot left minus this dot right and top minus module top. Okay. So this should record for me sort of the relative position that that thing is. Now, like I said, I need to make sure I'm grabbing the correct client size, which needs to be splitter.panel1.client size, not just any client size. Okay, so that's going to position the top of that. Now this thing's actually okay. So then I need to go add button relative offsets dot y. So dot top equals module top plus that. Now I could do a little bit of thinking to make sure I was doing this the correct way, so I think I might as well. If I take that top, so I'm just gonna go a dot top, a dot t minus m dot t, and then I'm gonna go, and I'm just gonna call this d for difference. And then I'm going to go, so what I'm basically doing right now is I'm just making sure that I have the algebra correct, because I just kind of like am throwing this together. So then I go a dot t equals m dot t plus d. So is this algebra correct? Yes, it is. Cool. So I just wanted to make sure that I had my algebra correct. At least that looks correct, because if I don't, then it's going to be in the wrong spot. So what I'm saying right here is if I add m dot t to both sides, then it'll make it m dot t plus d, which can be done in either order, and then equals a dot t. And then I can just rearrange the order of the equal sign. And so it is a true proper algebraic adjustment. So this should hopefully then keep that position correct. And then what I want to do actually is take this. I'm going to need this value again. Except I'm going to need the width minus module type selection left. Now, the reason why I'm doing this things left is that I want basically the buffer on the right side of this thing to be where I want it. So this is going to now be add task module left equals that. And then I can set this thing, so get some offsets for positional aid. Position their tops. Set position the tops of the type selection list and the add button. Set the add buttons left and then the width between them. So this right here then can basically be, so let's do some more algebra. So right here I have a dot l minus m dot r, and I'm going to go ahead and set d equal to that. And then what I'm going to want to do here is set its width, okay, equal to, and I'm guessing what I need is add task modules left plus add button relative blah 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 dot x, but I'm not sure, so that's what I'm going to check. Okay, so then I'm going m dot w equals a dot l plus d. So what I need to determine, okay, so this is not quite correct because this needs to be that minus, how do I say this? So that should be what its right equals, not its left, or not its width. Can I set the right? No. So right is read only. So I'm going to need to subtract off this dot left. Okay, so the reason why is right now I can take these D's and I can just set them equal, or I can put this right in here. Okay, so I'm just going to work through some algebra in this comment. So now I have this algebraic statement, which is like clearly a problem. Because I have 2AL minus MR, which is clearly not equal to MW. So I can set MW equal to M dot L, or M dot R minus M dot L. Okay? So let's go ahead and take this, because this is going to be the right minus the left is going to be the width. So let's go ahead and place this in here. And this is still like the difference, right? So let's see. What I'm doing, I'm just going to take D equals that. That's what we defined it as. Yeah. So then if we do put that in there, if we put this in for D, so we have a minus MR right here, positive MR right here. So I'd need to get some way of getting like ML out of this, right? Or whatever. But basically what I'm trying to determine is if adding this, well, these things together, doing this math gets me my width. So if I have the left, this guy's left, plus the left minus the right, minus M dot L. So it's important to kind of go through this, as kind of like tedious as it is, just to make sure that I'm having all of the sort of math make sense. So like what I'm seeing right here is this is a minus MR, and that's an MR, which means I basically have like, yeah, I'd want the ALs to cancel. So what that's telling me is if I make this minus, what suddenly happens is this right here becomes negative, right? So that means this is minus, this is plus. So what this does for us is the ALs cancel. And then we have the exact same expression on both sides. So we have MR minus ML equals MR minus ML, which can then be replaced by MW equals MW, which is true. So it's actually really important to kind of, like, I would discover it's wrong, of course, when it doesn't work. But taking this moment to do the algebraic step like this just allows me to kind of confirm that, yes, I'm doing this in the correct way. And as we noted, what I discovered is what I'm doing here is not, I need to subtract that off to be able to kind of get to the width that I'm looking for. So that's, that makes sense though, because what it's finding is it's finding the difference between that thing's right and this thing's left. So when I'm taking this thing's left, I need to subtract that difference off. Because this is going to be basically a positive value, right? And then I need to subtract that positive value off to kind of shrink things. Size down the module list. So this right here, task modules dot height needs to equal this minus task modules dot height. All right, no, task modules dot top, because we're not counting the bit in the top. Minus add task module dot top. I'm just gonna minus like 5. 5 is a magic buffer number. So I'm just gonna subtract that. One of the things that you'll notice, I'm being less precise about it because this thing is getting strictly positioned to the bottom, but this thing's height will only be in full lines, so it's a little flexible, shall we say. So instead of down, I'm just sizing that. And then task modules dot width can equal this width minus task modules dot left times 2. Same buffer on the left and right. Okay. So because this thing's location is at 3, it's going to have a buffer of 3 on the side. So what I should be able to do now is, and there's a lot more that I need to do this, but obviously setting this up takes a little bit of time. But what I should be able to do right now is run this guy, make a new task category, yep, unnamed for both, click on this and have this pop up. And then when I like pull this over, for example, see that thing is like completely messed up. I'm going to need to figure out what I did wrong there. When I do that, so this guy right down there is staying kind of about where we want it to be. This is not behaving properly, so I need to figure out why that is not behaving properly. So let's go look. Let's go see if I did something really silly. I'm going to close both of those because I don't need them right now. Okay. So we set the width of that. Task modules.top minus module. Oh, see, that shouldn't be top. It should be height. Let's see. This is a little bit complicated. Basically, when I subtract the top off is kind of incorrect. What I actually need to do, now that I'm thinking about it, is kind of take this value right here and replace this with this value. That makes sense. That makes a lot more sense. Because basically, I'm capping that height by that. Yes, both of these do. Okay, now when I resize this, you'll notice that it's like, it's bouncing a little bit as I resize it. That's to be expected. Again, the maximum size for this is, or the size for this is based in multiples of sort of item height. You'll see that when I start adding items. Right now I can only add due dates, and adding the add button doesn't do anything. But that, like I said, when I resize this, that's bouncing because it's in item heights. So I need to add items to this for you to be able to like see them. But, you know, that's kind of what a lot of the next episode is going to be focused on. So right now I've kind of gotten a lot of the base going on here, the basic sort of stuff that I need. So the next step really is going to be adding items to this guy. So I have one hard-coded one that I know that I'm going to want to add, and that's going to be the name. But I'm going to I'm going to go ahead and probably get into some of that next time. Before I do, just because I know that I'm going to want it, I'm going to go ahead and add a new folder. We're going to call it task module edit controls. So we're going to be going into our code here, and we're going to go ahead and using task tracker dot no. Oh, I haven't made the namespace yet because there's nothing in here. But we're going to be adding. Let's go and actually go ahead and add the first user control to this. We're going to call it name. That's what this is for, name. Now, because this isn't a namespace right here, I don't need to worry about name overlapping with other stuff. So we're just going to casually come over to this guy. We're going to go ahead and put, because we're going to need to be using this a lot, using task tracker dot this. So we're going to need to do a few things to kind of get stuff working, but this is how we're going to edit things. We're going to have like a panel right here, which is going to have we're probably going to put all of these inside if group boxes. And we're probably going to want all of them to kind of like resize this group box, but main group box, we'll just call it that. It just says name. And so when you resize this, it will, I'm going to want it to kind of resize that, and we'll get into all of that. I think that this episode's probably at a good length. So what we're gonna do next time is we're gonna see about setting up some of this stuff with this. And once we get a lot of that done, we've got a few things that will need to happen in the main window. Just kind of take a state of the program, as it were. We're going to need to have the scheduled view. So this right here is just going to need to list things that have due dates and sort of what's going on with them, what's the next list of stuff happening. And so that's just going to collect everything that has a due date using our handy dandy due date list, which we have, and it's just going to do stuff with that. And then the search thing is just going to need to be able to search tasks, and it's going to ignore sort of the category view stuff. It's going to do something kind of similar to what category view does, in terms of it's going to like provide a bar with like enter in sort of filter information, or it's probably going to have like a panel with like here's the filters and here's the stuff that shows up. But anyway, those are kind of important items, but I'm not going to get to them until like scheduled view I can probably get to fairly soon, but I'm not going to get to them until I have more stuff hammered away with like task modules and tasks and all that sort of stuff. So these are going to actually be pretty late in the process, particularly search, because before I can do search, I need to know what stuff I can search, if that makes sense. So search is one of those things that you're probably going to do fairly late in the process. Anyway, that's going to go ahead and take care of things for me right now. So until next time, everyone, take care. Bye-bye.